I get a cut. I think I'm top 5. Top 5.
Top 5 side ones. Track ones.
Hello and welcome back to another edition of Top 5.
I'm Ian Howe.
I'm Kenton McDonald.
And today we have a very special guest, our dear friend,
Eric Hines. Welcome, Eric.
How's it going, guys?
How are you, man?
I'm doing great. Had a good breakfast. Got
Good.
a nice cold beer in my hand. Got good buddies.
What'd you have for breakfast?
Take a guess.
Steak and eggs.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that is a good breakfast.
It was delicious. Nice big ribeye.
Oof. What are we talking about today, man?
We're doing a top 5 records of 1973.
Big year. Good year for music. I don't remember the year.
Yeah. I don't remember too much myself.
A lot of good shit came out, I can tell you that.
I wasn't alive for any of it, but I caught wind of it later on.
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
Heard good things about it, even.
Well, right on. Well, Eric, do you want to get us started then?
Yeah. Let's get right to it then.
Sweet. What's your number
Boom.
5 pick, 1973?
Number 5 is Funkadelic Cosmic Slop.
Oh, hell yeah.
I didn't know if anybody else was going to have that on there.
I really, really wanted to, and it did not make the cut, but I'm so happy that
Shit
it's being
is
talked about.
so funky.
It is so good. And it's, yeah, I mean, and just great songs throughout it. Like, I feel like less jammy, funky than a lot of their other stuff.
Yeah.
But just track after track.
I like how the first part of the record is definitely a little more like trippy, a little spaced out a little bit,
For
like
sure.
that March to the Witch's Castle, stuff like that. The Nightmare of Readjustment. All that stuff. Then you switch it over to the B-side, and you got like Cosmic Slop, No
Great track.
Compute. Oh. All the dirty jokes and No Compute. Jeez.
Awesome record. Awesome band.
Yeah, where does that fall in their lineup? What album?
Oof, what, 5? 5? 5th record?
I think it's the 4th one.
4th?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't dive too much in the catalog like that. I just remember that record came out in 73. And
Well, that's a good one for right off the old melon there. Ian, what do you
Yeah.
got, man?
I have Roxy Music, For Your Pleasure.
oh, okay.
It's their second record. The last one with Eno, and I'm a huge Eno fan.
And you're talking about Brian,
Brian Eno.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's all over the place on that record, with his treatment of the and doing his own thing, all those like wacky, or not so many, but a couple wacky solos on his synth that just sound unlike anything else I've ever heard. It's just so definitively
That's right. I've never actually gotten too deep into Roxy Music myself, but I
Yeah,
know
me
you're a big
either.
fan.
Yes, and I have to thank Andy Place for that.
I was just going to say that's Andy Place right there.
Yeah, I remember the first time I heard them was "Love Is the Drug" from some skate video. I don't remember which one, but it's definitely Andy that got me into them and showed me their earlier stuff, and that's what really rocks my world now.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, Brian, super prolific. I think you and I were talking about him not too long ago, and I'd recently heard that Rolling Stone has like a top 100 albums of all time, and I think Brian Eno had a hand in like 20 of them.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Produced a ton of good stuff and released a ton of good stuff on his own. More fun facts about that one. Judi Dench, it's her voice. It's like one of the last things you hear on the record, saying, "You don't ask why."
Judi Dench.
Judi Dench, you know her?
I know the name.
A British
JD?
British actress. I know her best as M from the more recent
Okay.
James Bond movies.
That makes sense. Like GoldenEye and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think from GoldenEye on,
Okay.
even the newer ones. Yeah,
Yeah,
Dame
she's still up
Judi
in the
Dench.
mix.
yeah. But I think she's a big deal.
Oh,
Yeah. I
Um,
can see my mom being like, "Oh yeah, Judi Dench."
for sure. Yeah. Moms love her.
If my mom's into it, then it's big.
Also got Amanda Lear on the cover, who was Brian Ferry's girlfriend at the time. I think they did that for like every record, just like a picture of his girlfriend, sometimes naked. She was a model and then went on to have a disco career and ended up being Salvador Dali's muse for years.
No way.
Well, you got any more fun facts on this album or a particular song that you love off of it?
Editions of You would probably be my favorite track on that one. Also, the first song, Do the Strand. The two fastest songs on the record, more reminiscent of their first record. But I also love the slower, darker, weirder stuff. It gets truly eerie. It's scary sounding.
Oh, okay.
I love
Spooky.
it. Spooky.
All right. Will this make it on your top 5 spooky records? Don't tell me. We'll save that for another day.
That's
But
Halloween
dark
episode.
with melodies. It's just a really, really cool record and really unique sounds.
Very cool, man. Well, I'm going to get into my top 5 here. My number 5 pick is Marvin Gaye's Let's Get It On.
Cool.
Ooh.
Pretty cool album for 1973. Kind of the first album where he started getting into the funk. 13th studio album, I believe. And,
Damn, 13.
Yeah, he'd been doing it since the early 60s.
They haven't cracked him out.
Yeah, and so this was kind of the first one where he really went out on, well, actually, not really. I guess What's Going On came out in 1970. That was like his first big one, but it didn't have as much funk to it. And being on Motown Records, people were kind of like the popularity of the Motown sound was dwindling in the 70s. And Marvin Gaye was a huge part of kind of leading that next echelon into the whole kind of funk thing that happened. And I picked this album because I think it's really unique in the sense where it's one of the first like extremely sexually charged records that made it onto the billboards and was very commercially
Continuous
successful.
radio play and everything.
Exactly. But, like the same year, I guess I'll just throw some honorable mentions out there, but James Brown had 2 albums that came out this year. He had The Payback and Black Caesar, which are also...
Black Caesar is great.
Yeah, those are both great soul records, but you can hear it in James Brown's music how like super funky, super cocaine driven.
Yeah.
It's awesome, but for me I think that this is more of a standout record for the year as far as soul music is concerned because I think it speaks to the progression of Marvin Gaye's career. But yeah, I had to put that one on there.
Solid pick.
Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, what do you got, Eric?
So we got it's number 4 now. All right. Number 4, Black Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath.
Fuck yeah.
1973. I think it's like beautifully heavy. It's like the way the different transitions and like National Acrobat, how it gets so slow and then just da 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 dee doo 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 doo. Makes you want to go jogging and stuff. I don't know. I love that record. No, that's not on there. That's on Sabotage. My bad.
Killing Yourself to Live.
Yeah, Killing Yourself to Live.
Sabracadabra.
Sabracadabra is one of my favorite love songs, just in general.
Who Are You? Some cool
Spacey Man, the Spaceman track.
Very un-Sabbathy sounding.
Yeah.
It's actually also my number 4.
No shit.
So let's just keep going with it.
Yeah, talk it out.
I know that. So they were all stoked on how Volume 4 came out and went to the same studio in LA to record it, and then suffering severe coke-induced writer's block, and just came up.
What are we gonna do?
Came up with absolutely nothing. Went back to England. We're like, oh, okay, let's try to record it in a castle.
Yeah, it's so sweet.
And
I feel like that helped with some of the heaviness.
yeah, I
of
think
some of
Tony
that
Iommi
writing. Yeah.
immediately came up with the riff for Bloody Sabbath, and we were like, we're back.
Yeah.
We got a record. The one fucking riff, one of the greatest riffs of all time, but one fucking riff brought him back and got him to where
That
they
one
needed to
little
be
spark.
to come up with that masterpiece.
I mean,
of a record, not just a song.
that man has unlocked a lot of riffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Riff master right there. Certified. This one's for you.
Tony. Also, people love to think that they're so evil and spooky, but they were actually really scared in that castle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's because they're so spooky. They know what kind of shit goes down in a castle,
But it's like that story. I think it was like either Robert Plant or Jimmy Page bought like it was Aleister Crowley's like little thing on the cable, like on the block, like one of his houses or some shit like that, and they tried to live in it. And they're just like, "Fuck this!" Like, absolutely not. Like this place is
Yeah, I know
out there.
they had like a jam session, a recorded jam session with Led Zeppelin during the recording of that. I don't know if it's released, but and I don't know if I'd care to listen to it. But,
Yeah, it could be weird.
it's cool that it happened.
Oh yeah, it's a thing.
What's your number 4?
Oh, I'll happily tell you, it is ZZ Top's Tres Hombres.
Awesome.
That would have been my honorable mention.
Another one I'm glad that got brought up, but did not make my list.
Yeah, really cool third record. Growing up, my dad, he didn't really listen to a lot of music, like whatever, but one of the few things he had growing up was a ZZ Top greatest hits. So I knew all these greatest hits. I knew of the band, and as soon as I got older and I picked up a record, and Tres Hombres is like a $2 record you can get at any record shop.
Still might be.
I hope so. I mean,
I
you gotta
got
I
it
think
for
it's
less
probably
than
bumped
5
up
for
to
sure.
5.
Yeah, we got to keep it accessible. But really great record, and it also just made me kind of reevaluate how I thought about ZZ Top once I heard that, and then Rio Mud and ZZ Top's first record.
I've heard people say that it's a true ZZ Top fan's favorite record.
Oh, cool. Well,
So.
I guess. I mean, it might be where I draw the line, though. I do actually like some of their cornier shit from.
What about
from the 80s.
Eliminator? Eliminator's got some cuts.
That's a big one, yeah. For 3 dudes from Texas,
That's heavy.
I think they did all right.
A
proud
small
of them.
little band from Texas.
Yeah, little biggest band from Texas. But yeah, so I wanted to put that on there. A lot of stuff happened this year, and I had a lot of stuff in my lower half of trying to figure out if it was going to place on the top 5, and I felt like I had to throw on ZZ Top just because it's a record I've listened to so much over the course of my life, over the last, better part of a decade.
Yeah. That's how I felt about Cosmic Slop. Like put it on there. It's like, you gotta throw that on there. You've been smoking weed shit for so long.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's my number 4. What do you got, Eric? Number 3 now.
Number 3. Oh, number 3. I think you're gonna like this one too. This one's for you, Ken. Alice Cooper, $1 Billion Babies.
Oh, okay.
1973.
Great record.
It is a great record. And I love the way it starts. The boom, boom. It's a fucking giant
Yeah, hello,
pageant.
hooray. It's just, what an opener.
Yeah,
Great
right
side one
into
track one.
Elected.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's Elected, then Raped and Freezing, right?
Yeah. No, maybe it's Raped and Freezing.
No, Raped
Shit.
and Freezing into Elected. Yeah, absolutely right.
Why is a politician never taken that song on?
I've always wondered that.
I mean, if they wanted my vote, they know what they have to do.
Yeah.
If you're listening and you're running for any position in
Any
the future,
position.
yeah, just get this going.
Assistant manager.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, great pick.
Any more on it?
Oh, I mean, I like the way that it starts like so fast and the big pageantry of it. You got Hello Hooray, Elected, like the Unfinished Suite. Boom. What's the last song? Marianne.
Oh,
Second to last
Marianne.
song.
Yeah, that's a
Then
great
it just
one.
kind of take that left turn into like the Muppets territory.
I love the piano on that. It's such a beautiful song.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. I have a lot to say about Alice Cooper, and I hope one day I get it all out.
We can get your top 5 Alice Cooper records.
I'm
That could be
hoping
an
someone
episode.
picks it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Ian, what do you got?
I have The Space Ritual Alive in Liverpool and London by Hawkwind.
Okay.
Oh, damn.
Probably my favorite live record at all. I mean,
Really?
top,
all of them.
top 5. Yeah, I'll just say top 5 live records. Also,
Say no more. When someone picks live albums, we don't want to. We want to keep them guessing.
well, I'm gonna have to talk about this one again because it's a fucking masterpiece as well. I know I've already fucking used that word, but it's so damn good. It's like an hour and a half, and there is not a second of silence on it. It flows. It's from 2 different concerts, but they put it all together. there's like poems in between. Like describing it sounds like something that I wouldn't like. It's all these songs without choruses and almost self-indulgent bullshit, but but it just really, really works, and it's not flashy, it's not wanky.
And
Michael,
to be able to do that live,
right? Yeah,
seems
and the live show
insane.
just sounds insane between the visuals and what the sounds they were creating. It's like it's a let me describe it as like inside Hawkwind. There's a 4-piece band just trying to get out, but it's bass guitar, drums, vocals, but then there's a synth player, and then other. Maybe it's just 2 synths, but other noise shit. It's these cosmic sounds. It's a sonic attack. Michael Moorcock, the science fiction writer, who they frequently collaborated with, described them as barbarians with machines. Which I love that word, and it also, I feel like that makes it all make sense. That makes them not sound like a bunch of douchebags just jamming and showing how fast they can play the guitar or whatever. Like the rhythm section is actually it's super tight, but super straightforward and locked in, and they'll play the same thing for super long, but it's still just simple, and it has all these like
just
crazy sounds
simple
over
enough.
it that it's awesome. And it's also the versions of all this. There's 3 new songs on the record, but the versions of all the songs that are on previous records, it's recorded from the Do Re Mi Fa Sol La Ti Do tour, but the versions of all the songs I think are the best versions of those songs, and like add an energy to it and a realness, it's fucking awesome.
Hell yeah.
Love Space Ritual.
That's cool.
Love
I'm
Hawkwind.
glad you threw a live record on there too, because I feel like you have to be a huge fan of a band to actually even give a live record time of day. That's my
Absolutely.
opinion. I think it's like the only live records I love are only bands that I listen to because I absolutely love it, and I love every subtlety or variation in a song that I'm used to hearing a studio version of. But a lot of people can't stomach a live album at all.
I in general I agree, but I also don't know anyone who's like, I love Hawkwind, but I don't like Space Ritual. It's like,
Yeah, it's like you have to like. It's like liking Motorhead but not liking Overkill. Doesn't
yeah, I
make
thought
any
you were going to say
sense.
Live at Hammersmith, which is
Or Live at Hammersmith.
probably be in my top
Yeah.
5. But yeah, it epitomizes Hawkwind. It's like, and for a live record to do that is so fucking cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And like hard to do to really like capture the essence of a band truly.
Yeah.
So
And like, there's not a single like cheering or audience clapping, it's nothing like that.
so it was
like,
recorded in the studio.
Oh, they did a
It
Kiss
was
style.
recorded live in the studio?
no, I think they just didn't put
I like
microphones on
Kiss,
the
too.
audience.
yeah. Kiss is sick, dude. They did it all right.
Can we say Kiss on this thing without getting sued?
I'm willing to try.
Say Kiss, you just can't say money bag.
Or Metallica?
Right on, dude. Great pick.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm really happy with it.
Cool, man. Well, maybe I
Making my
hope you
day.
guys. I hope you guys like my next pick because this is a huge one for me. But Aladdin Sane, David Bowie, 1973, 6th studio album, the first album he ever wrote as a famous person, coming off of Ziggy Stardust. Prior to that, he had a really struggling career. He never had any commercial success till that. So this first album he wrote while he was on the road in the U.S. So that's why the songs are a little different, a little more rushed and kind of.
Yeah, I don't know that record that well.
Did it come up?
Aladdin Sane with the lightning bolt
You know
across
the
the
cover.
Yeah, I know
Yes,
the cover.
It's one of the most
Yeah.
iconic covers. And the lightning bolt is supposedly signifies the dual personality that he has for his character, Aladdin Sane, and David Bowie himself. That's supposed to be the metaphor. in
People
that.
love to associate the lightning bolt with Ziggy Stardust, but that's not right.
That's not right. No.
No, that'd be the first thing I'd
and
think
also,
of.
this is kind of where we're getting. This is personally my favorite era of Bowie is the fucking red mullet into eye patch wearing pirate era. Like,
Yeah.
this is all.
It's the coolest looking.
Yeah, this is like opening it up. Like because he struggled so long, because he put all of his records retrospectively, I think we'd all say are great. Like, obviously Ziggy Stardust was huge, but like Man Who Sold the World, awesome.
Great.
Space Oddity, really good. Hunky Dory,
Good.
incredible.
Love Hunky Dory.
Yeah, like all
wait,
the stuff with Mick Ronson.
Did Aladdin Sane come out before Pinups?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because I thought that Pinups was like after the success of Ziggy Stardust, like pump something out, get it out there real quick. Like, okay, cover album, I can throw that together.
No, it came out right between Aladdin Sane and Diamond Dogs.
Oh, okay.
So it's still mullet era.
Yeah. Diamond Dogs is
Bowie.
another fucking awesome one.
Oh, it's incredible. It's like maybe my favorite of the era.
Untouchable. Yeah.
Yeah, but also like it's kind of obvious, but the name itself, Aladdin Sane, is a pun. Alad Insane. It's kind of like, I like that he touches with his own mental illness because his mother had mental illness. His brother went crazy at a young age. So it's something that he constantly was always struggling with. So
It's always in the back of your head a little bit.
exactly. So you hear a little bit of that in his music, and you could go super deep into Bowie, and Lord knows I have, and I won't bore you with all the details that I find so fascinating. But this record to me, the fact that I put it at number 3, it could easily be interchangeable in my top 3 because it is so important to me, and I love it to death. So, yeah, David Bowie, my man. All right, Eric, let's move on to number 2. What do you got?
All right, number 2. Speaking of David Bowie, I think is a David Bowie produced record, which I think is really tight. Number 2, Stooges, Raw Power.
Oh, very good.
Whoop.
Yep, number 2 right there. That record, I dare you to find a record louder. When you first put that record on, that thing just blows your ears away.
I think I've heard you mention that in the studio every time I've recorded with you.
I want
which
to
has
do
been
a
lot.
record that
It's
loud.
like, let's go raw power volume. Like,
Yeah, like too
just
loud.
Turn everything all the way up.
Yeah.
No, that record fucking rips, obviously, and it's kind of crazy that it almost didn't happen because at that point Iggy, I think, had signed to Columbia as a solo record, and as a last-ditch effort, they flew in the
Ashton Brothers.
The Ashton Brothers, exactly.
Classic
over to London where they recorded it.
Where Ron Ashton was forced to play bass
Yeah.
and was not happy about
to
it.
do it.
But
This isn't me.
Brian Williamson brings a whole new energy to the studios. He's a shredder.
It's too good. And when they break it down, like I Need Somebody, that like the bluesy tracks, stuff like that, it just makes you want to be in some smoke-filled bar, just slamming whiskey.
It's also my number 2 again, Eric.
Boom.
Cheers, buddy. Yeah.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah. I mean, it's so good.
Yeah,
it's raw power. Yeah.
I Need Somebody, Give Me Danger. It's a
Search and
perfect
Destroy.
dynamic.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, I'm going to get out of turn here, but that was my number 1 pick for 1973 was Raw
damn.
Power. So we're all on board here. It made it in the
It's
top
gotta be up
2
there.
for all of us.
Iggy
but
Pop, we salute you.
yeah, Iggy for me was such a huge influence growing up, getting into punk. I didn't get directly into the Stooges. I had it on some mixes that I had. But I think the first CD I bought was like a best of Iggy Pop. I think it was Nude and Rude.
I
the
had
green
that too.
cover.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
was the first I had too.
I had
and
it.
it had a lot of tracks from that,
Yeah.
and that was kind of my introduction to the Stooges, and I also get flack from people because in my record collection I have it alphabetized, and because
So
it's
it's not with
labeled
the
as
Stooges.
it's not with the Stooges, it's with Iggy.
That makes sense. It's not Iggy Stooge.
Iggy and the Stooges, not
Yeah.
the Stooges
Yeah,
and
come
Iggy.
on.
So
But you don't have it with your other Stooges records?
I don't know.
Well, that just seems like a pain in the ass for you. But
Well,
you know where it is, so that's fine.
Well, if we can make a reference to High Fidelity, where the scene where his coworker comes in, it's like, "Oh, do you need any help organize this? Like, how do you have it? And it's not alphabetical. It's not chronological. It's like it's autobiographical." So, but that's kind of how my approach to that too. But yeah, that album is, I think, easily probably one of the most influential records in pop history or rock history.
I like that duo a lot, like musically, David Bowie and Iggy Pop. I just think being in the same room with those two people, especially at the height of the 70s and stuff like that, Iggy Pop's going out of his mind on drugs.
Well, yeah,
and
that
Bowie's
was
the one who got him off heroin, right? That
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
brought him back to reality. Like, well, whatever their reality
Yeah.
was. So.
Yeah, I think there's a quote too that when the album came out, it wasn't actually super well received commercially, or one of the first people to speak publicly about it and how great the songwriting was David Bowie speaking about the record. It's one of the first praises to that record.
To the early Stooges.
No, to that.
To
His own
Power.
record that he produced?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah, I really did a bang up job, guys.
I mean,
He ain't
it
lying.
doesn't hurt that when you're on the when you're the rising star and you had a hand in doing something. And let's be real, like Bowie's great, but he was more probably in the room than anything else.
Yeah.
I don't know about that, because have you heard the other mixes, the Iggy mixes?
Yeah.
It sounds very different.
Well,
I mean, there's all it's strictly 4 tracks, right? It's just
Yeah.
guitar, bass, drums, vocals. But Bowie,
But I got the
Bowie did
keyboard and
something.
raw power.
sure, or piano or whatever.
Yeah.
yeah, I think we can
But
all
definitely
agree it's
like actual 8-track
Yeah.
recording. Yeah.
yeah, he
I-
did something. I'm not
yeah.
saying he was completely useless by any means, but I think like his star power at the time,
His name being on it was more important than what he was actually
than
doing.
what he was actually contributing.
Sure.
I believe, but you
Yeah.
know.
it's not a Lou Reed transformer.
But
thing
then
where-
going into like his solo stuff, like the Idiot Iggy's second album that he did,
that's serious Bowie shit.
that's serious Bowie. Out of all the times Iggy over his career has gone out of fashion and out of touch with the world, Bowie covering that song off of his best-selling record, Let's Dance,
China Girl.
China
I was
Girl.
gonna say
So
China
his
Girl
cover of
too,
that,
right?
the royalties that Bowie got was enough to refuel. Like I think Iggy was basically broke at the time that he covered that, and the royalties he got off of Bowie's best-selling album, him covering that song, was enough to refuel a comeback for him.
Good
I think
fucking
Bowie.
song.
I think easily Bowie has done the most for Iggy
Oh,
in his
yeah.
career.
Absolutely.
And I think for me too, it's like as much as I love the first Stooges record, and Funhouse is also amazing in its own right. Raw Power also just as an album title, like what could sum
Yeah.
up that
It really
album?
just brings it to the forefront right there. Like, what are you about?
Yeah, you pick
What
up
do you
you
do?
pick up the record, you look at the cover, you read the title, you're like, oh fuck, okay, I need to know what's on
I
this.
need to hear this,
I
yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
hear it.
The pretty face is going to hell. Like, what is he talking about?
and to bring it back, also Iggy had a huge influence on Bowie.
Yeah.
The character Ziggy Stardust is named after Iggy Pop.
Pop dust.
Iggy Pop Dust.
No, Stardust is something Stardust Cowboy. It's like this real wacko shit. But that's where the Stardust come from. But the Ziggy is directly from Iggy. So they were feeding off each other. They were two groundbreaking.
Oh man, I just
Amazing.
realized I missed my fun fact from earlier.
Oh, what you got?
I had Alice Cooper fun fact. I realized doing some research that Neil Smith, the drummer in Alice Cooper, he was a session drummer for the Plasmatics
Oh,
for
cool.
1984, Beyond the Valley in 1984, which seems like an insane lineup to go and see.
Sure, and another fun fact, in case you don't know, is that Neil Smith's sister, Cindy Smith, married the bass player of Alice Cooper, Dennis Dunaway.
And
So
all
how
comes
fun,
around.
Cindy Smith Dunaway,
Cindy Smith Dunaway.
who actually did a lot of their wardrobe in the early days of Alice Cooper and kind of gave them the aesthetic that we know them by.
Good for Cindy.
Right?
Way to go, Sin.
Got to keep it in the family.
Well, you got you.
Yeah,
now.
where does
You're
that land
number-
us? Because that's
Yeah, so
Well,
I
you still got
basically
your number two.
I blew my number one talking to you, so I'm going to get into my personal number two, which is Alice Cooper's $1 Billion Babies.
Fun fact.
Fun fact, they're an incredible band. I tell this to everyone. I think they are the most important American rock and roll band of all time. I think they have done more for rock and roll at an earlier time than anyone else. They had 2 albums that came out this year. They also came out with Muscle of Love, which I do like.
Muscle of Love is tight.
The first 7 records of the original band are all fucking killer. Even the first 2 weird ones that Frank Zappa put out, I love. But
Easy Action, Prettiest for You.
yeah, exactly. So Billion Dollar Babies being their most commercially successful record, they went out and toured right after this came out. And this tour, they broke the box office records, which were held by the Rolling Stones prior to this.
No
Is that
shit.
all based on No More Mr. Nice Guy? Like, that's the only huge single on
Huge
it, right?
hit. Yeah,
Billion Dollar
that was
Baby is pretty big.
Yeah, but it's not like you're hearing that on classic rock radio.
no, but another great song off that record, Generation Landslide, which
Yeah.
is
Yep.
on.
I was listening to that earlier today.
It's so good. In fact, actually, this goes back to Aladdin Sane as well, but the movie Dogtown and Z-Boys, incredible soundtrack on that. And I think that might have been one of the first times when I was younger, because I think that came out in 2000, that I had heard Alice Cooper do Generation Landslide. And I thought that song was so cool. And Aladdin Sane, that song is also on there. For me, I am just so enamored. And also on this tour for the Billion Dollar Babies tour, there's actually a movie that came out. It was called Good to See You Again. And it's predominantly a few shows in Texas from that tour, and one actually here in Portland, Oregon at the old Memorial Coliseum. There's some clips from that as well. But this is the height of their theatrics in music. So they had hundreds of baby dolls that'd be out killing with stabbing with a sword. They had like a guy with like a big drill. This is when this is when they introduced the guillotine. Exactly, the third and last way. Well, actually, I don't know. I think the electric chair came out later, but he originally hung himself.
Yeah.
Then it was the guillotine, and then he started killing himself with electricity. But this was like one of the greatest illusions. The hanging was great, but the guillotine, I've seen him do. I've never seen him hang himself live. I've only seen.
We saw the guillotine together.
We did, yeah. He did the guillotine, and he also electrocuted himself and turned into the giant
was
Frankenstein due to the success from Wayne's World, which is what a lot of people of my generation are familiar with. Alice Cooper is more of a shock rock era with Feed My Frankenstein.
Sure.
Yeah.
But the fact that Alice Cooper had put out 7 full albums by 1973 as a band before Kiss even put out their first album is like just to give you some context to guys wearing makeup. Also, Alice Cooper, they weren't like a pretty polished, they weren't like a cute band, dude. Like they looked fucked up. They looked crazy. He was blood stained with his his
or just that red onesie.
The
red
union
onesie
suit with all the stains on it, and his knee-high leopard boots. Like the whole aesthetic of the Alice Cooper band to me, I think, is just so gritty in comparison to what was coming out at the time. And this album, they have just been getting higher and higher, and this is the pinnacle of their career, which also lent itself to Alice Cooper getting offered to go solo where he ditched the band, which is kind of tragic.
Damn shame.
Yeah. It's not good.
And there's actually the rest of the band, Michael Bruce, Neil Smith, Dennis Dunaway, and Glenn Buxton.
Buxton the turtle.
And then, named after my turtle over here. Or my turtle is named after Glenn Buxton, I should say.
I prefer the latter.
The turtle's probably older. Yeah.
Maybe, we're around the same age. They had a band called the Billion Dollar Baby Band after the fact. So they have an album as the Billion Dollar Baby Band. So if anything, latching on to the most commercially viable aspect of their career. But yeah, for me, I had to put Alice Cooper in there. Again, Muscle Love's great. If you poo-poo it, go back and listen to it because you don't know what you're talking about.
That opening riff and Muscle of Love.
Oh, God, yeah.
It's so heavy.
Oh, my God. And yeah, even like songs like Big Apple Dreamin'.
Oh, that's
dude.
So
best
fucking
one
good.
of that record to me. But.
Yeah. No, it's all great. And they're just such a fucking cool band. They're the best band from America of the time. Cool.
Eric,
what's
so
your number
here we
one?
are.
Eric, I have a feeling we have the same number one.
I have this feeling we have the same number.
Do you want to
one
say it
also.
on the count of 3?
All right.
Kenton, count us down.
1, 2, 3.
New York Dolls.
Oh,
Fuck
shit.
yeah.
Okay.
Self-titled record, New York Dolls.
Greatest American
1972.
band of all time.
That's
After
actually
Alice
makes me
Cooper,
think. Who do
yeah.
you think would win in a fist fight, David Johansen or Alice Cooper?
Alice Cooper, are you kidding me?
Arthur Kane would kick both their asses.
Yeah.
The Killer Kane?
Yeah,
Killer
the killer. No, but New York Dolls, that first record, I feel like
The
was
epitome of cool.
Yeah, it's just something that like everyone kind of seen a little bit with the Stooges. You know what I mean, with a little bit of the androgyny and stuff like that. But they look just so much more gritty.
Truly terrifying people. I mean, being
Yeah.
homosexual was illegal at the
Oh,
time.
yeah. To cross dress or to dress as a
Yeah.
woman, as a man, it was, you got arrested, you got beat up. It was actually, yeah, it was
It's
pretty
some big
cutting edge
shit.
and
Yeah.
pretty
We're
ballsy
going
for
to
the time.
base our band around this and fuck you. And if you say anything, I bet any of those dudes kick your ass.
Or at least try. I mean,
Could
I
you
can see Johnny
imagine?
Thunder's kicking some ass
I can
and some
also
fucking
see
big ass heels.
someone kicking his ass. I mean, he's not.
I mean, absolutely.
I would like to see if the whole like hair metal genre would have turned into what it did if it wasn't for the New York Dolls.
or even
absolutely would.
even punk as we know it. Like we talk about Stooges, New York Dolls, MC5, but like which of those bands actually sounds like what punk ended up sounding like the most? New York Dolls for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
the energy of the Stooges, and you definitely can't fuck with MC5, for energy and stuff like that. But
They
as
were
far
my
as
hardest,
actual
like,
sound,
trying to find like something. I wish that the MC5 kind of released shit so I can put them onto the list, but I also kind of like,
Yeah,
you really
I know.
don't need them to release anything in '73. Like High Time was great.
yeah.
Which was 71, is that right? Was that the
Yeah.
last album? Yeah, I mean that's
they had already done their thing. Like,
Yeah, they were they were
which,
the
you know, I
MC5.
have way more respect for bands that can just come out and leave you wanting more, because the MC5, all three of their records are fucking killer.
They're phenomenal.
Which the New York Dolls definitely did, right? I
Yeah.
mean, I think they have a couple more later releases, but
yeah, Too Much Too Soon is great.
Yeah,
Underrated
but the
record.
first two are the only ones that matter, right?
Red Patent Leather isn't that great?
And the first record is just that is
It's
the band.
flawless.
That is the New
It's a
York Dolls.
flawless record from start to finish. I can't skip any track. All the Bo Diddley covers and stuff like that too. That song Pills.
I think that's the
Is
only cover, but Pills, yeah,
Is that the only one?
yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, that's the only one. I was thinking some live show I was watching. They do a bunch of Bo Diddley covers.
Produced by Todd Rundgren.
Yeah, Todd Rundgren.
Weirdly enough, but it fucking worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the whole the punk mentality of just like we're not that good, but like we fucking look cool and we have
Yeah,
sick
like
songs.
that helped start the Ramones. The Ramones
for
were just
sure.
like saw that and was like, "Holy shit, we don't necessarily have to be good.
Right.
We're like technically good.
Yeah. Don't have to be artists. We don't have to be musicians even.
Yeah.
We just have to play our instruments.
Gotta
and,
feel something.
Yeah. And feel it and be it. Live it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
From
this
the
is their first album that came out,
Yes.
1973.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, incredibly early for punk genre, which they get lumped into.
Right.
Ramones and probably the secondary band that you'd associate with punk from 76.
Sure. I mean, I think they were actually the first band to be called punk. Well, I mean,
You can go
Alice
with-
Alice
you can
Cooper
go
was
with the
called punk.
Dictators.
Bruce Springsteen was called street punk in like 75.
Rick
or so,
James was called Punk Funk when he came out. That's how he built himself as. He's like, I am Punk Funk. As I am the originator of it. There ain't nothing punkier, funkier than me.
Well, we owe him a lot of credit.
Oh, you do. But that whole kidnapping people thing.
No, that's cool that I was actually kind of shocked, but initially shocked by the fact that both of you had that at your number one, but actually retrospectively thinking about it, it's not, because obviously it didn't even make it onto my list. I've never been a huge New York Dolls fan. Like, I don't dislike them by any means, but they weren't as important to me growing up as a lot of the other stuff.
Big reason to me that they beat out Raw Power was that by the time Raw Power came out, it's barely even the Stooges. It's not even the Stooges.
They had
like
already
we were
been
saying.
established.
Yeah, I mean, if Funhouse came out the same year, that would have been harder for me. As much as I love Raw Power, but I mean this New York Dolls record. It's like that is the record of the band. That
I feel like it gets you by the balls from the opening hit.
Personality Crisis, man.
Did you ever see them on the reunion tour?
No.
No.
You didn't?
I know
Okay.
people that did that said it was good.
Well,
like
you know,
Calvin saw him with Iggy Pop.
yeah.
Calvin saw him with the Stooges.
Damn.
Oh, no. I was
And-
talking about New York Dolls. You didn't see the
Yeah.
New York
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
they
you-
played with the Stooges?
Yeah, they played some show at CBGB's like
Oh,
back in
rad.
like 2000 something, like early 2000s. Calvin was there.
That's what I'm. Yeah. Well, I think Stooges had put out that new album with Mike Watt playing bass.
Yeah,
and so they
not
were playing.
Skull Ring. That was Iggy
No,
Pop.
that was Iggy
one.
Pop.
The weirdness.
Something like "Kill Me" or something, or "Explosion" or.
Boom.
It all comes full circle, baby.
So anyhow, I remember when I had an opportunity to see the Stooges. They were playing up in Seattle at Bumper Shoot, and a lot of friends I knew from high school went to go see it. I didn't. Huge regret of mine. It's one of a handful of shows that I regret not going to, just because I was at a point where I was totally, I don't know, disappointed by every older band I had
Reunion
seen.
shows so often are such a letdown.
Yeah.
Like more
But-
often than not, really.
Yeah.
But
Like,
I will tell you, when I've seen Iggy twice, and God damn it, it was some of the most surreal experience of my life, and I wish I'd seen it. But New York Dolls doing that reunion show, which was all really thanks to Morrissey, who really got them back together and took the reins on getting them out there.
That bastard did.
Yeah, it's one of the few great things Morrissey has done for other people.
That's a whole nother day.
Yeah, but and he's been a fan since the beginning. He actually ran the European, or maybe it was just the English,
The chapter of the fan club.
the fan club out of his parents' attic where he lived. So he was been there since the beginning. Was hugely influenced by them, and that's cool that he had enough popularity later on in his life where he could actually bring them back out on
Yeah,
the road.
get back.
You know,
That Killer Kane documentary. You ever see that?
I did. Yeah, New York Doll.
Yeah,
I was a New York Dollar. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's nuts. Just him on the bus. You know what I mean? Just hanging out, being Killer Kane. Just
Working in a Mormon library.
Yeah.
What a.
it's like if there's any left turn that you can take in this band's story, it's like, and now we got a Mormon.
Another New York Dolls fun fact: they were named after a toy repair shop that was across the street from where they practiced, called the New
My
York,
roommate's always talking shit on the dolls.
New
Like,
York
it's
Doll
so creepy.
Hospital.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, since we've
One more cool thing about the record that I just found out today. A lot of David Johansen's I don't think the main vocals, but backup vocals were recorded through a distorted guitar pickup.
You're just screaming
Just
into a guitar
screaming into a
pickup.
fucking guitar, and like the, talk about raw power. Like,
it sounds like lore. I don't know.
no, it's true, dude.
Dude, it was there. I saw it, man. It was awesome. You
I
had to be
remember
there. You had to be
1973.
there.
There I was, me and the gang, Davey, Sylvain, Big Johnny T.
And old Jerry.
Jerry.
All right. Well, 1973 had a lot of albums that we didn't get to, and I feel like we're all kind of jonesing to just put a couple more honorable mentions out there.
Always more.
Always more. Anything come to mind for you, Eric?
Yeah, and it's a really hard one to put it in. I think it's kind of a surprising one to like my friends and stuff like that. But honorable mention: Thin Lizzy, Vagabonds of the Western World.
Yeah, absolutely.
The wrestling world?
Of the wrestling world. Don't even get me going on that.
Yeah, and I agree with you because that was on my radar. The Rocker, obviously the hit
Yeah.
off of that song, off of that album, but
I prefer Thin Lizzy more as a four-piece.
yeah, the first three albums I really don't
Shades, like
spend
don't
a
get me
lot
wrong,
of time
Shades of
with.
Blue Orphanage is a really good record. Stuff like that. And the self-titled one's great too. But I don't know. It's like it's so close to just being.
They
like,
hadn't fully figured out the Thin Lizzy thing.
Yeah, by the time
to
they
me,
hit Nightlife. By the time they hit Nightlife, they're just like, all right, we got it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, but I think it's still that's on my honorable mention list as well. So I'm
fuck.
glad you said it. What about you, Aaron? You got anything?
A big one for me would be another Roxy Music album from that year, Stranded. So their first one without Eno, but he did say that he thought it was their best record. Amazing album. But I wanted Eno on my list,
Yeah, and Eno was probably just being nice because they're homies.
I think he never lies. That's a theory I have.
Oh my god.
Also, Blue Oyster Cult.
Yeah, Tyranny's a Mutation. Yeah. That's a great one.
Yeah.
Al Green.
Al Green. Another name I wanted to mention.
Sensual.
Yeah. Badass.
Sensually badass.
And I've actually misplaced my list of honorable mentions, so I think you guys pretty much summed up the two I knew off the top of my head. Is there an obvious one that we're missing here?
Bowie pinups.
No, that was the next year. That was 74. Because 75.
No, I think
Nah,
it's 73.
All right, well, we can look that up right now if you'd like to get your phone.
Andy Place, if you want to call in.
Andy, if you want to call in 3 months
You
after the
can't.
fact, I'm going to have to go ahead and say I'm pretty sure on this one. But if Ian's,
We're going down in the nitty gritty right now.
if Ian wants to die on this cross, man,
It's not like we live in an age where you have computers in our pocket or anything.
no, I mean, again, just
I'll never look.
recording this analog is incredibly difficult. I hope you guys all really appreciate the fact that we're doing this on reel to reel.
Editing's a bitch.
No editing.
Oh, shit. I like that.
October 1973.
Oh.
Recorded or released?
Released.
No.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I am wrong.
Recorded in August.
Oh, barely counts.
What?
Damn, that turnover is awesome.
All right. Well, I can admit when I'm wrong. I don't like to.
I can't, so I'm so glad I was right.
I can, but today's not the day.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's got to be another big one that we're missing here. Thin Lizzy, obviously. BOC.
Muscle of Love was mentioned.
Yeah,
but,
we did mention that. Muscle of
maybe
Love.
deserves
And
further.
I also mentioned the two James Brown records. All right. Well, I think that sums up honorable mentions.
Such honorable records.
For an honorable crew.
Well, what do you guys say? You want to try our hand at a game of top 5?
I'm down.
Since we have a lot of crossover on this episode.
Yeah, I'm down.
What do you guys think? Can we elect maybe the Stooges or Alice Cooper?
Down with either.
All
Let's
right.
go with Cooper.
All right, Cooper. Cool. I'm down.
I'm down.
There's a lot to choose from there.
Yeah, top 5. Alice Cooper on Spotify. In a place to be. Always.
All right, Eric, let's hear a full top 5. What you got?
Full top 5. All right. Number 5, Only Women Bleed. Number 4, Feed My Frankenstein. Number 3, Poison. Number 2, Welcome to My Nightmare. Number 1, No More Mr. Nice Guy.
Ooh, Welcome to My Nightmare is the one that I wish I had on my list that I did not. I had a Long Way to Go, Feed My Frankenstein, No More Mr. Nice Guy, Poison,
And
18,
the ever obvious
number
track.
Okay. For me, I had at 5, Feed My Frankenstein, into I'm 18, to School's Out, to Poison, to No More Mr. Nice Guy. And you guys ready to see the official Spotify?
Yeah, School's
ready.
Out definitely should have been my number.
Yeah,
number
School's
5
Out
of
should have
those.
definitely been on there before Only Women Bleed.
All right. So at number 5, and this actually corresponds here with the numbers. So 17 million and change. We got Feed My Frankenstein at number 5.
All right.
Okay.
So far, you're on fire.
And then we've got at number 4 with 23 million and a half, I'm 18.
Oh.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. And then we're moving up to 35 million. No More
Jesus.
Mr. Nice Guy.
No More Mr.
Ken,
Nice
did you just
Guy.
nail it perfectly?
Number 2 at 78, basically 79 million. Let's call it what it is. School's Out.
Oh.
And then moving on up to
Number 1.
the number one spot. Sorry, I lost it here, but it's by a landslide here. We're looking at
Generation landslide?
207 million and change. Poison.
So
Poison's
did
the
you get it
number
5
one.
for 5 in the right order?
Not in the right order, but I nailed all 5.
Ah, damn.
Oh,
I
damn.
was 4 for 5 with the songs
That's good.
out of order.
I had to pick some asshole cuts. I guess.
I think you were 3 for 5. That's pretty good.
Ain't so
Pretty
bad.
good.
Hey, man, 3 out of 5 ain't bad. That's about
I
as
ain't
good as we did
complaining.
with the Ramones. But yeah, so Poison also, got to put this out there. For all you punk listeners who may or may not know this, backup vocals on the song Poison by my man Stiv Bators. What up, dude?
Oh, no
Hey,
shit.
Stiv.
Stiv,
Stivvy.
speaking to you from above the grave. How you doing, man? But yeah, Poison,
Yeah,
obviously a
right.
huge hit. School's out. Like, that's a no-brainer. No More Mr. Nice Guy, a little bit lower than I thought it was going to be. I'm 18, Feed My Frankenstein. I feel happy with my pick. And this
Yeah,
is,
you did the
this-
best.
This
Yeah.
is the first 5 of 5, not in consecutive order.
Ever.
Ever.
time.
Of all time.
So,
And thanks for indulging in the Alice Cooper. I'm a big fan. All right. Hey, Eric, thanks so much for being here, man. I
Yeah.
really appreciate hanging out with you and getting to talk to you about music. It's been
Thank
a
you
long
so
time.
much.
But
Yeah, it's been a second, but thank you so much for having me here. I've had a great time. I recommend people come and do this. It's a great time.
I recommend people know Eric Hines.
yeah, if you don't know Eric Hines, look him up. He's a great man.
It's all right there.
Oh, woo. Yeah, 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 yeah. No, 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 no. Just go on and pick it up. Don't take them lights away. Come on, just go and pick it up. Don't take your life away. Give me danger, little stranger, and I'll feel you at ease. Give me danger, little stranger, and I'll heal your disease. Your top prime could have made, I'm your choice. I wanna be elected. I'm your Yankee Doodle Dandy in a gold Rolls Royce. I wanna be elected because I wanna be elected.
This has been a Top 5 production, produced by Kenton McDonald. Our theme song was by Ian Howe. Our logo artwork is from Andrew Colgan at Studio AYC. Edited by Kenton McDonald with editing assistance from Ian Howe. And a very big thank you to Andrew Bassett for today's outro music. And if you'd like to request a criteria, you can email us at podcast.topfive@gmail.com. Thanks for listening.